Ooh, I just want to say this, right? I just want to say this for everyone else. We opened the brainstorm chat to talk about things for Gen 1, and the very first thing I said was a shoulder cannon. And I thought I was totally joking. I was like, this is actually super cool. And it turns out, like, that was such a bomb idea, and I was like, all right, amazing. I was like, I feel useful for once.
But yeah, this has been a fun one to design and create.
And then Luke, can you swap to the PC, good sir?
And what this is the tech shoulder cannon. This is a weapon that attaches to your character via your shield slot. Once it's on there, as long as you have element equipped or in your inventory, it'll be able to fuel this, and it will have multiple firing modes, so you can set it from standard fire to rapid fire to sniper fire. And each one of those modes have different profiles that they maintain. The standard mode is actually a pretty wide scan, but it has a projectile that is fairly fast. It's a little bit more likely to hit your target. The further something is, the less likely it's going to hit, just because it has time to move. And it has like a medium range. Then the rapid fire fires a much more rapid projectile, or much faster projectile, many more per second. Has a higher fire rate. It is late at night. It has a higher fire rate, but sustained fire will overheat it, so it can only go for so long. And then the sniper fire is a much more condensed and charged up shot that will go further. It actually targets more directly in front of the player, keeps the turret focused, whereas rapid fire is a much wider cone of searching, more or less all the way around, at least where it can reach. There's a player's head there, so it can only go so far to this side, but it has a lot of degrees of freedom on the left. So it's something that will target any enemies, hostiles. I think you can set its preferences similar to a turret, like you would on a turret, and you can set what it'll attack, and then just from there on out, you run around with this guy going and doing its thing. This is going to be really, 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 really big for PvP for sure. PvE also, it will just, anything they're doing that requires damage, this is going to magnify that by
play the video one more time.
Extreme amounts. Yeah, definitely. Let's get the video again.
One more time.
This is also just a great piece of protective armor. Like, wearing this means you now have a heads up when anything that you deem as hostile and you don't want near you, you have a direct heads up that that's coming by. You start hearing the gun firing, and it'll let you know that there's something around, because it'll start targeting. And once you're moving around, it's just constantly searching for targets. This is a fun one, and it's strong. It's very strong because it gives a person just extended power. It's another weapon that's firing for them at all times and targeting things without your input.
It's like a personal turret almost,
exactly.
Where it's just on your shoulder.
And all you got to be doing is looking forward. The only downside to this is all of its projectiles, except for the sniper, are pretty slow. As long as you're not right next to it whenever it's being spawned and you're moving and changing your direction, you can avoid getting hit. But that's a much harder thing to do than it is to say.
Yeah.
Especially with our game, movement is a really easy thing to get, and most players have a really fast speed. So we're going, and our goal is to design this to be something that is dodgeable as long as you are moving. So someone coming in with these is just forcing you to be an also moving player, which is not something that is uncommon already.
Right.
It's just encouraging that play style. But it is a very costly thing to bring, and that means you have to carry element on you to carry this thing around. And it does work with any armor or no armor. So you don't need anything to equip this other than attaching it to your shield slat.
Which is cool. It may or may not be able to answer this. It is a very basic question, but if I have this equipped, will I be able to toggle this on and off? You know what I'm saying? Like if
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
So it'll pop up from holding your E, your multi-use button. Once that wheel pops up, it'll have a activate, deactivate, whichever that toggle is. If it is active and you whistle neutral, that'll also disable it.
Okay.
For those quick disables, like, oh no, that's a friendly person, or I forgot that it's on and I'm running around in a place that I'm not targeting hostiles, or I didn't
Right.
realize I had player targeting on, and you're talking just to your neighbor or something like that. We definitely are trying to making sure we find ways that everything's quick to turn off or quick to deactivate, preferably through a means that you're already familiar with.
Yep.
And everyone's used to commanding their dynos, so hopefully that'll be an adequate control.
Yeah.
It's always a challenge finding controls to assign to
Yeah.
something. The more abilities you give something, and it just, especially with consoles, a consideration always, like we're limited to what we can do for there because we don't want to create something that they can't have.
Right. We gotta press a 18 button combination just to
Exactly.
enable a feature.
So that is definitely something with this and everything else in this expansion in Genesis has been considered and being tested actively.
Yep. Well, man, that is the Tech Shoulder Cannon Tech. So like he's saying, we've seen